So considering that we're talking about time-saving solutions this morning, in the interest of time, I think we'll get started. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us for our July Innov8 Virtual Insight. Delighted to be joined by Zoe from Draycir this morning, who's going to be talking us through a couple of different solutions. And having had a sneak peek at the slide deck, I believe she's even got a little free trial for everybody to have a look at as well at the end. So I'm not going to steal her thunder, but what I will say is, if you do have any questions as we go along, feel free to pop them in the chat. You can unmute yourselves at the end if you do have anything that you want to ask. As I said, we are recording this morning, and we'll make a recording available afterwards. So if you do need to share this with anybody within your organisation, it'll be freely available to access with the link. And yeah, over to yourself, Zoe. I'll let you introduce yourself. And
Super. Thank you very much for the introduction, Michael. And good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be looking at time-saving solutions, which I think, as we all know, time is money. So as much time as we can save, the better, really. So that's kind of the view that we're taking on today's insight session. So I'm Zoe. I work for Draycir, who are an ISV, standing for Independent Software Vendor. It basically means that we create add-on solutions for Sage 200 and other solutions as well. Obviously, we're going to just be concentrating on Sage 200 add-ons today. So for those of you that haven't come across Draycir, some of you have probably already got some of our solutions, which I believe some of you have. But just by means of a little bit of background, on the screen just there, you'll be able to see how many users we actually have of our products. And you'll see it's very much on a global scale. So we work with Sage very closely here in the UK, but also on a much more broad, global basis as well. And our partnership with Innov8 is that Innov8 are an accredited Draycir partner, which means not only can they sell our software, but they can also install and support the software as well. All of the solutions you see today have also been accredited by Sage themselves. Okay. So how can I save time? What are common challenges? So all of the solutions that we're going to look at today have actually been driven by our existing user base from other solutions, where they've said, I have this problem, can you help resolve it? And that's exactly how every single one of these solutions I'm going to show you today has actually been created. It's been created by end user demand. So some of the things that we get are you spending time copying data from an Excel spreadsheet into Sage? And it can be literally anything at all. And I'll give you some ideas of sorts of things that people are doing at the moment. Would you like to post transaction across multiple companies in Sage just from one spreadsheet? So it might be that you have different entities in Sage, for example. It could be one of your customers or various different customers are sending in orders, but they're for multiple companies. So instead of keep swapping and changing companies in Sage, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could just be sitting in a spreadsheet, put all the details in, and then it'll fire it off to all the different companies in Sage? Are you spending lots of time making amendments to stock? So actually, this is where the data is held in Excel. It's actually held in Sage, but I want to change the data. And changing stock can be a real, and this is why I've included this one here, because I know a lot of you on the call do have stock. It is very time consuming to literally go in every stock item to make it inactive, to make it active, to change the price, to add in a barcode, to change a commodity, whatever it is you're doing takes a lot of time. So we can actually look today of how to export that information, change it and get it back in again. So I know the last time when I showed this, it was taking someone 3 months to update something. They've just taken on the software. In what they were taking 3 months to do, they actually did in 4 days. So that's the sort of time saving we're looking at. Now, going away from data in Sage, what about, are you using Sage Reports? Now, if you are using Sage Reports, are you spending time having to manually recreate it and send it? The answer to that will be yes, you are, because there's no way of actually scheduling it. And it does take time to go into the report, to filter it out on whatever criteria you need. Then you receive the report, then you send it on. So I'm going to show you ways of actually how to schedule reports. Make it great. It's dead easy. Schedule it once and it's done. Are you spending time working off an age debt report, manually sending chasing emails to customers that owe you money? So now we're looking at credit control. That is that is huge, a waste of time, trying to go through an age debt report, trying to then send out emails, trying to call people, trying to find notes on when you last did it, etc. So I'm actually going to show you how to automate all of that. So really, that time is now better spent doing something else because we can now automate these things. So they're just a few examples, really, on the sorts of things I'm going to help you with today. Okay, so let's start. So these are all of the solutions from the Draycir rather, that integrate into Sage itself. First thing I'm going to show you is Excel Data Bridge. Okay, so there's a word in there you'll all recognize, that's Excel, and yes, it is using Microsoft Excel. Then we're going to have a look at Report Scheduler. Speaks for itself. Yep, it will schedule your reports. And then we're going to look at Hound Cloud. And I'm going to give you a free link today, so you can be up and running with Hound Cloud literally within an hour of seeing this webinar today, because you literally can install it very, very quickly. So you could actually be up and running with that solution by the end of today, no problem at all. Okay then, so let's start with Excel Data Bridge. So there's one thing I know you'll all be using as account software, because it's the one solution everyone uses on a global scale, and that is Microsoft Excel. So Excel Data Bridge, that's what it is. It's Excel. The difference is on the ribbon bar at the top, there's an addition, and that links it all to Sage 200. It doesn't just link it to Sage 200, it brings the data from Sage 200 into that Excel spreadsheet as well. So that then means I can start posting bulk transactions into Sage. Don't worry, it will validate it against Sage before it goes into Sage. So it's going to highlight, actually, no, if I try to do this now, it's not going to like it, so it won't do it. So don't worry, if you're posting lots of transactions and you're worried that it might go wrong, it can't. It will tell you if it's going to be wrong. You don't even need to be a Sage 200 user to even use this software, because it just requires the access to the database, which is in the integration in the software. There's your multiple companies. So if you've got different entities in Sage, you might have 2, 3. I've spoken to someone recently had 40 companies in Sage. They just wanted an Excel spreadsheet to actually do all of the transactional work for them. You can work offline on it and then post it once it gets back online, and there's a full audit trail. So just had a question there. Does it work with a cash book? So I'm going to show you now all the different functions it does. So there's different areas in Sage that it will post transactions or amend or whatever into Sage. So anything from the nominal ledger, sales order processing. So things like creation of a sales invoice, might be creation of sales orders. Purchase ledger and purchase order, so the reverse of that, so a purchase invoice, it might be purchase order creation. Yes, the cash book is there, so you're able to, whether it's cash receipts, cash payments, you could do them both in one as well. So yes, that is there. Even if you wanted to do, let's say, sales ledger cash with allocation, yeah, I can do that even. There's your stock. So even if you're transferring stock from one warehouse to another warehouse, one bin to another bin, one bin from one warehouse to another bin in another warehouse, yeah, we can do that in this as well. Stock creation, I should put on there also amendments as well, which we're going to look at today, and even project accounting. So if you do use project accounting in Sage, yeah, if you want to do adjustments for any of your projects and things like that, it's a great tool for that as well. So I'm only going to capture a few of these today, but it's just to really give you an idea. If you go onto the Draycir website, you can see a list of all of these with a detail of what it actually does as well. Okay, I'm going to go through with you the most popular ones. Okay, So let me just open up one of my Excel spreadsheets I have here. The first one I'm going to start with is the nominal ledger. So something that most people will be doing. But in addition to that, it's also something that a lot of people will work out calculations in Excel. And then what they'll then do is create those journals in Sage just by means of copying it over. So if you are doing that, well, wouldn't it be great if actually the Excel spreadsheet you're using, I could just then say, well, here's all the data. Right, off you go. Let's put it into Sage. So all I'm looking at here is an Excel spreadsheet. But you can see on the top, I've got this ribbon bar saying Excel Data Bridge. That's when I know I'm integrated into Sage because I've got that. So when I say integrated into Sage, if I have a look at this designer here, every single one of the designers for every single one of the templates that I showed on the slide earlier, it will have different fields here to map it to. Because of course, if I'm doing a sales order, well, I don't need half of this information. So it's only relevant. So this designer here is only relevant to the template that I'm actually using. On the left-hand side is all the fields in Sage that I can map it to. Everything on the right-hand side is everything I have already mapped it to, or not, as the case may be. So you can see here, company, I've not actually put in because I've missed it out because I want to show you how to actually map it. So before we have a look in the spreadsheet in detail, let's just see how to actually map it into Sage first of all. So if I wanted to add in a company column, because I have multiple companies, and I'm not always going to be doing it to this one company at the top, because I've got a drop-down list here where I'd have all my multiple ones. What I actually want is to do some journals against different companies. So therefore, what I can do is have this here mapped to Sage so it knows which company or which entity in Sage to post it to. So I've added in a column and it says company. This point here is not mapped into Sage. So let's go back to the designer. Let's go to company, click on the three dots. Now it's saying which cells do you want me to map to that company field, which also means I don't have to have the header reading exactly the same as Sage. So if I hover over the title, click onto it, that's the format it needs. I press OK. Hey presto, that's it. That's already mapped into Sage. Nothing else for me to do. So that also then means for this particular spreadsheet, if I want to have these columns in a different order than what my template that you initially get with it, yeah, no problem. You can delete all of these and just add them in the order you want. Or equally, if the template is, for example, I don't use transaction analysis codes, I could delete it, I could hide it, whichever you want to do. So this particular one that I've mapped, being company, it was actually, and this is how I know it's integrated into Sage. You can see here, I've now got a drop down which would list all my companies. So I could go to each individual journal here and then see which company I want it to post to. And there are also other things as well that I would be able to see from Sage here in the spreadsheet. If I right click here on the nominal code, for example, I can actually see a browse. We call it the Excel Data Bridge browse. So I could now browse my nominal code. So if I wasn't sure which code it is, I don't have to go into Sage to look for it. I can look for it just here. So it makes it very easy for me. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make a mistake on this code just to show you how it will show you where things may go wrong. When it comes to things like dates, etc., if you wanted to put formulas in to say for today's date, when I've got a reoccurring journal like I have here, if I want to say this date plus 30 plus 30 plus 30, for example, this is just Excel. So you can use Excel formulas in here as well. So with this particular template, which is just looking at creating nominal ledger journals, exactly the same as you can in Sage, I can create a single, reversing, reoccurring, and previous. I've also requested to group these journals together. So I'm using an indicator that says where everything is A, I want that as one journal, B, C, D. So it's going to create me 4 separate journals. And you'll see that group by ID throughout a number of these examples I'm going to show you today. And that's all it's doing. So if you imagine this was a sales order or a purchase order, all the lines with an A is one order, with B is the second order, etc. That's how it will work. What you're actually seeing on the Excel spreadsheet, I've got a Excel DataBridge logo on there. Yeah, put your own logo in, brand it with your own colors. It is just Excel, so you can do any amendments to it you want. Now, I've already put in the data to save time, but there are other things I might want to do on this mapping. For example, that narrative column, do I want it mandatory to make sure someone always fills that in? And that's with any, when I am talking generic here for any of these. So if that's right, then yeah, I can say it needs to be mandatory. So I change that from false to true. So if someone did leave it out, it would warn me and say, you need to fill in the narrative column. And that could be for any of these here. So how do I actually get to InSage and how do I actually validate it? You might have already spotted the validate journal at the top here. That's the first thing I would do. And this is almost saying the data that I've got here, are you happy with it? So it will be checking things like the cost center, etc. Does that exist in Sage? You know, have I put the right information? You'll know yourself. If you're putting in Sage, there's certain information it will always need. If that information is missing, it will tell me here. Or if the information is incorrect, it would also tell me. So I can see here, if I was to create these journal, it's happy with these ones, not this one. So if I have a look, it will actually detail what is wrong. And if you remember, I said I'll purposely do a mistake so we can see what happens. And it's saying, I don't recognize this. So if I go to there, amend what the error was, I just put those A's in there. But remember, I could do the lookup at this point and then bring it through from there. I know that one's okay, so I'm just going to go straight to create journal. That's exactly what it's going to do. I've got my journal number, I've got my display URN. So at that point there, yeah, I know that's in Sage because I have that information. So just to prove the fact, if I go into my nominal there in my list, if I go back to that Excel spreadsheet just to see the journals, 42, 43, 44, 45. Yep, we can see 42, 43, 44, 45 is sitting on my deferred waiting list. There we go. That's my reoccurring one with all my vehicle costs, etc., etc. Dead easy to do from an Excel spreadsheet. It's a nice time-saving exercise. Some people will say to me, why do people use Excel Data Bridge? My simple answer every single time is people prefer to use Excel than data entry in Sage. And that can literally be down to personal preference. The other reason why someone would use Excel Data Bridge for something like that I've just showed you is you can do taxable journals here. There is an import that you can have in standard Sage. You don't get the ability to do taxable journals. So therefore, you know, it doesn't exist in standard Sage. So therefore, if my preference is to do it from Excel, there is, you know, the reason why I would use Excel Data Bridge in that scenario. So another huge time saver for those of you that have got stock, most definitely is when you're wanting to amend stock. So I know it won't be relevant for everyone, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. But it's just to show a different way that I can use Excel Data Bridge. So this is one that I did previously down here, but it's okay. I can overwrite the information that I've got. So this time, what I'm going to say is, I want you to bring through from, say, some information into this Excel spreadsheet because I want to make some amendments. So I have an analysis code in Sage called Summer. So it's all my summer promotional information. Obviously, you can bring through on that stock filter here. There's lots of different things you can actually use from product groups or whatever it is. You'll know what it is that you want to bring through. So I've got my filter ready. Right, let's now download the stock. So what this is going to do, it will just say, I'm just going to overwrite what you've already got. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. And there we go. So that's my analysis code from Sage into my summer one. because what I wanted to do, I've got some product groups here that I just want to make active that are inactive, for example. It might be that I want to change the price of it, for an example. It might be, let's just do that. So I want to add some pricing. If you've got price bands, no problem at all. You can see my price bands here as well. So I could change this price here if I wanted to as well. Let's change that to £60, for example. I can put different prices in there against the different bands if I wanted to. Just to save time, I'm just going to do the same one. Barcodes is another big one as well. It might be I've got a new product in there. I need to put in some barcodes. That's fine. I can put in new barcodes in here as well for these particular products if I want to. Commodity codes, literally the list will go on and on of all the different things. This has got every single column in Sage that you can bring through. I need to change the nominal coding that's against this particular stock item. I need to change lead time, whatever it is. You can see I've got every single column here that I've got in Sage. The biggest difference here is that I don't have to go through every single product individually to make any of these changes. So again, I've still got my validate button. So that will then validate to check everything's all right before I make any changes. It will also then enable me to run this. So it'll obviously change everything in Sage to whatever it is that I've changed it to. So obviously I've made things active that were inactive, changing pricing, putting a barcode, all of that great stuff. So it seems to be happy with everything I've done so far. So that's great. Let's just press run it. And then, so here, what it will bring up, so it's processed these ones here. It's happy with those ones. Anything that when it went to do it, it will tell you here. So depending on what you've got in Sage, it will tell you here what you can't amend or can as the case may be. So it's telling me here that I can't actually amend that one. Okay, no problem. Let's change it back to what it was, and you'd know what that problem was at that point. Still got other things that I wanted to change. So let's amend that. There we go. That's now changed the other things that I've changed within it. Okay, so when it comes to stock, that can be a massive, massive time saver. I'd say anyone that's got stock, that would definitely be of interest to anyone that needs to be changing stock at all. So as I say, I'm not going to show all of them today, but there's lots of different functions that we can actually use. There's a list just to remind you again. They all work in a very similar way in what you've just seen today. If you go onto the Draycir website, we have got some videos on some of these as well if you're interested. Okay. The idea of today is just to give you a quick overview. Obviously, if you want more depth in more of these, then if you just let your account manager know, and then we can set up a one-to-one demonstration, that's no problem at all. Okay, so that is Excel Data Bridge. So another time saver, which I personally think is an absolute no-brainer if you're using Sage Reports. Obviously, if you're not using Sage Reports, then it'll be completely irrelevant to you. So it's literally about automating the distribution of any of your reports. Now, that can be your standard Sage report, or it could be a custom report. It's controlled within Sage 200. The delivery options, it's the same as if you did it in Sage. So whether you want it emailed or whether you wanted it spooled, emailed and spooled or printed, you might be sending the same report, but to different people. And they've said, okay, I want it in CSV. Well, I want it in delimited. Well, I want it as a PDF. That's great. We can just create those scheduling in that format that they want. No problem at all. And of course, the data that it is sending at that time is live at that moment in time. So this is a Spindle report scheduler, and let's have a look how easy this tool is to use. So it's actually sitting in Sage. You can see here, Draycir Spindle report scheduler. Click on schedule reports. There's only one option there. And what that will do is enable me to find either my custom or my default report. So I'm just going to pick any report here. Let's go in my sales here. Okay, so let's say the example is I've got a salesperson. They want to have a report on their top 5 customers on a regular basis. So what I could do here, I could say, okay, well, the account manager is, let's say it's Alan. So I can create that, which is exactly the same as you'll see as what I have from Sage, that criteria value. So I can do my filtering. The next step is, well, how often do I need to schedule it? Is it just a one-off? Is it that Alan asked for this report next week and actually I'm on holiday next week? So in which case I could just do a one-time report and say, okay, wants it next Wednesday at whatever time. Or has he specified he wants this every day, every week, every month, or whatever it is? So let's say he wants this on a weekly basis. So which day of the week does he want it? Or would he like it at the beginning and at the end of the week, for example? We could do that. Now, for anyone that has got a warehouse, you might have reports that need to occur every single day, but throughout the day. So I'm not just getting one report. I need the report every 2 hours. And I can put in my times that I want it from. So it could be from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. Every 2 hours, I need this report to be run. So that's another option as well. For this particular report, though, Alan just wants it on a Monday and Friday. He wants it first thing in the morning because I'm going to schedule it for 8:30 in the morning. And he's requested it to be sent by email. So I put Alan's email in here. Now, another idea here is I have a lot of people that want to have reports sent out to customers. They might want to know their orders for the last month or something like that. Whatever email you put in here is going to send to that particular person. And this is one of those additions which you almost don't know you need it until you've got it, because every single customer that we have with this wanted it for probably 3 or 4 reports. And then, you know, they're actually scheduling 70, 100 reports, because at this point here, it might be that one person wants it in CSV, data Excel, whatever, but the next person wants it in a different format. So instead of me keep generating these reports and doing it on a, you know, every Monday at 8:30, this is going to automate, so it makes it a lot easier. Now it might be Alan wants it, but also Chris wants it as well. So actually, I'm going to send it to Chris as well, because Chris is Alan's boss and he wants to keep an eye out that he's looking after those top customers. So there we go. I'm now going to send it to 2 people. They want the same format. Brilliant. And then what I can do here is changing the date, because obviously I'm scheduling it. So he only wants this month to date, or whatever format it is. I've already specified Alan's name here, so this is good to go now. So as soon as I press save, that's it, it's done. I don't have to do anything anymore, because this is automatically going to schedule that report. So as you can see, the hard work is here, is actually building the schedule. It's not that hard though, because then once it's done, it's done. If I ever want to go in there and edit it, fine. You know, Chris has said, well, actually, I don't need that report anymore. Right, okay, I'll take you off, no problem. Save it again. Actually, he wants it on a Wednesday as well now. No problem, I've made those changes. Very easy indeed. It will tell you the next time it's run. What we can also do to these as well is we can put an end date to it if we wanted to. So if we only wanted it for a certain period of time, that's no problem. Only want it to the end of October, we can also do that. Any time that a schedule has ended, if I show all the reports, you can see everything that has previously been done, but you know, it's no longer required, it's come to the end, which then means I can then go back in and edit it. And actually, yeah, I do need to rerun this now. And it might be just that I've ticked this box, or deselected it, should I say, so I can re-enable this one now. It's a fantastic tool. It's dead easy to use. It's just a site license, so there's no user license involved here. Once you've got it, you've got it. The actual is following the roles and, you know, the security that you've got on the reports as well. If I don't see the report, I can't schedule the report. If I can see the report, I'm able to schedule the report. It's very easy, and it does open up your whole business to do all sorts of reporting as well. Fantastic tool. So that is Spindle Report. Spindle, I can't get me, need to glue my false teeth in. Spindle Report Scheduler. Okay, so the last one I'm going to show you as well for time saving is Hound Cloud. Now, that anyone that knows Draycir will probably have heard of Hound. Hound Professional, this one over here, it has been around for many, 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 many years. Now, we have just launched Hound Cloud for Sage 200 Professional and also Standard as well now. It's not a new product for Draycir because we actually launched it outside of the UK and Ireland 2 years ago now. We first launched it for Sage in America, Canada, and also Asia as well. But now we're pleased to say that we've brought it to the UK market as well. So it's definitely a tried and tested solution. It's a lighter version of Hound Professional. So if you've ever seen Hound Professional and thought, oh my gosh, that's far too much to remember, it's very detailed in the way you do your chasing and things like that. This is a lighter version of it. So we've basically been speaking to users of Hound Professional to say, in the ideal world, which bits are you using and can't do without? Which bits don't you use so much? And which bits are we missing? And that's how we've developed this particular solution. So actually, you're getting the parts that everybody says you need and want. It's cloud-based, so we're just looking on a web browser for it. Now, this is one thing that I do not say for any of our software. This is the only one. Hound Cloud is actually the only product you can install yourself. Now, if you're sat there thinking, crikey, I couldn't do it, I'm not technically minded at all, even though I work for a software company. So I actually didn't look at any instructions of Hound Cloud to see how easy it was for me to install myself. It took me 2.5 minutes. I timed it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I genuinely do mean that. So within Hound, because it's all about credit control, it's somewhere where you can put your notes. It's somewhere where you can actually mark something as being disputed. You can send ad hoc emails as well. And here's the one bit that all Hound Professional users said they wish they had, but it isn't in that software, that we created in Hound Cloud. And that was for it to have its own email client. So when you send out something, whether it's an ad hoc email or an automated chasing letter, you can actually see that it's been delivered. You can see it's been opened and how many times it's been opened, or equally, you can see if it's been failed as well. Also, that own email client means that when they reply, you see the reply in the software. So you can see all the correspondence, which is great. It gives you that whole overview of everything that's happened. This is the biggest part of it. Just sending out chasing emails automatically. Now, you can do it multiple levels. You don't have to treat all your customers the same. And you can say, I don't want this particular customer to receive any chasing emails at all. It's however you want to set it up. It's a monthly subscription because it's cloud-based. So it's a monthly subscription. So you can, you can trial it free for 30 days. And then, you can then, if at the end of it, you think, well, actually, yeah, we can't live without this now. Yep, you can sign up to a monthly subscription for it. So let's have a look at Hound Cloud. So this is what it looks like. So after 2.5 minutes, literally, of installing, that's what you'll see, but it'll be all your data. So it will look exactly like this. This is the great bit, because it's all about emailing. So it will actually say to you how many customers, in my case 24, and how much money you can't change simply because there is an error with the email address or it doesn't exist. And that's really key. So what else am I seeing here? So obviously I can see the total amount of debt because obviously all this information is coming through from Sage. I can see some highlighted information here. I've got a list of all my customers as well, so I can use this here. I can see whether they're active on stop, etc. I can see, my age debt as well here with my aging buckets, etc. And also my collection path. This is the bit that genuinely will save you time. And I can add in a new path if I wanted to. So it might be I've got a load of bad payers. I want to really treat them quite firmly when it comes to this. So what I'm going to say is I would like to chase these people at 2 p.m. every single day. I can say chasing emails if the transaction amount is. So I'm not bothered about little amounts. So long as they're £50 and over, they're the only ones I want to do. If you really wanted to, you can have these at 0 if you wanted to. So then what I need to do is right, let's start doing letters. So the first one I want to do is a preemptive letter. Why not? So I want to almost let them know 7 days before that their invoice is due because they never pay. They're my bad payers. And I can do that here. So I've already got some templates there. So as soon as I press add, that will give me the ability, let's, put in your logos and things like that, your signature strip in here, make any amendments I want to. But once I'm happy, let's press add. That's the first email that will go out. And then I just build up on that. So then I want to do 7 days after. So 7 days after on from my templates. I'll go mild actually here. Again, make any amendments, add it in. Then I'll go to my next one. Maybe that's going to be 14 days after. It's whatever you want it to be. Again, make amendments, and there we go. So at this point here, no one's going to receive any of these emails, not until I actually save it, and then I need to switch it on. So there we go. That has now enabled that one. But again, no one's going to receive these emails yet, not until I assign my bad payers. So now what I can do is tick everyone that I think is a bad payer. Then in my action, I'll change the collection path to be bad payer, save it, confirm it. That message, was just saying this will take effect after tomorrow. So now I've got 2 collection paths. I've got my default and my bad payer one. So it's dead easy to start putting different people, chasing them in different ways, but equally, don't send any of these ones a letter at all. Nice and easy to do that. So those letters will go out automatically. If someone called in and had a query, let's find them. I can filter on that, find the customer. I can then click into the customer and it will show me everything relevant to that particular customer. There we go. So again, a bit like the dashboard at the beginning, I can see their balance and everything else. Everything's coming through here. I can see they're on automated chasing. I can switch it off from here as well. It's just loading all the transactions here. So what it's going to show me is all the outstanding transactions, because that's what I'm filtering it on, all of the contacts in here, and all of the activity. The activity on here is everything. If I tick on a transaction, it's just the activity based upon that particular one I've ticked on. So this is where I could actually say, okay, I want to log an activity here. I actually rang them. I spoke to Hayley. This is what they said. So it's nice and easy here. I've got some here that I can promise to pay now. Let's say I can put in some further details. I can add some comments in here. So the beauty of this is whoever's doing my credit control will be able to see that activity against that customer. So here we go. That's just nice and quick to find something. Equally, I could send an email from here as well. Again, I've got templates. So if this was a customer that wasn't getting the chasing emails, there we go. Or I can just write an email from here. So I'm going to just do it from a template just for speed purposes. If I just send that across, obviously I can make amendments to it. That's now sending the email on here. If I want to chase multiple, I just tick them. Equally, the other thing that I can do here is actually highlight it that it's been disputed. There's a problem with it, and what that will do, it will pause any action. So any chasing emails, well, they won't receive any because it's on hold. I can resolve it, it will take it off, and now it would be back in the chasing cycle. But I can see everything that's happened on there. So the other great thing that this actually has, another thing is the tasks. You can see what's happening and when it's next happening as well, for today, for tomorrow, etc. So I can see everything that's going out. Again, it's always warning you on things that you can't do because of the email address, and I can click, find out who they are. But also, this is the bit that everyone likes. I can see my outgoing emails, and I can also see when they've been opened, how many times they've been opened. So you can see here, clearly someone's doing some testing early this morning, but I can see how many times things have been opened. You'll also see here images. That's absolutely possible. I think that must be Credit Hound himself. Absolutely possible to put logos and images within any of the emails that you're sending as well. So you get great visibility here. When someone's going to reply to you, you can have it replying to your own email address now, or you can have it replying here. If you have it replying here, great. I can open up the email, which also marks it as being read. I can see what information is in here, and also that will also be against the transaction as well. So I have full visibility. All of this is available to you to install and also have a 30-day free trial of as well. The other thing I didn't show you there was the invoices. This is every single invoice which I can sort on as well, and I can actually do actions from here as well. Send an email, put on a note. So some people like to go down this list. This is a new feature which has come from existing users. They wanted a list that they can go down to do chase, 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 and that's what this is. That's a new feature we've got. Because it's a cloud product, any new features you will see here. So you're always up to date. There's no upgrading needed here. It's automatically done because it's a cloud product. So everything, so you'll see that's when the invoice list just came out recently, and anything new as well. So that is Credit Hound Cloud. It's an absolutely fabulous product. And as I say, the only product you can install yourself. So this is the link. We can put the link in the chat just now. And all you do is literally click on the link, fill in your details here, and that will then say, thanks for signing up for Credit Hound, but then you'll get an email that you will accept, and then you'll start the installation process. The only requirement is you need to be able to see your Sage database from the PC you're installing it on, and that's it, and then you can go. What about training? So part of the install, it will actually show you on there as well, but there's actually this help file here, and you can do a Credit Hound tour. That will take you through page by page by page on everything. So you don't even need anyone to train you, because actually it will do it all yourself here. If you don't want to install it yourself and you want the help of Innov8, yeah, absolutely, you can do that, but obviously there'll be a charge for that. So sorry, I'm spinning through this quite quickly. So I'll just do a quick a summary for you. We had a look at Excel Data Bridge first of all. So remember, that's using Microsoft Excel to actually take data from Excel into Sage. We also then looked at Spindle Report Scheduler. And then lastly, we looked at Credit Hound Cloud. Now, if you're interested in knowing more and want a quotation on how much any of this is, then please speak to your Innov8 account manager. They'll be able to send you a quotation, not only on the software, but also any installation and training costs as well. Innov8 support the software. They also install the software if you're not doing it yourself. That's the exception, of course. There will be Credit Hound Cloud. If you want a one-to-one demo on any of these solutions, if you think, well, actually, yes, we would benefit from that, but I would like some of my team to look at it as well, again, just arrange it through your Innov8 account manager, and they'll be able to organize that. And remember as well, Credit Hound, I can't tell you, it's dead easy to actually install. So Innov8 already have some customers themselves, and they actually purchased from the back of a trial themselves. So I'll shut up talking now, and thank you for listening. But if anyone's got any questions at all, then I would probably say now's your opportunity to ask any questions at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Zoe. If you do have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or pop something into the chat. No. Okay. Obviously, a very good presentation, Zoe, because you answered everybody's questions. And the only thing I would ask is, in terms of kind of the time saving ROIs and that type of thing. I know yourselves as an organisation are quite strong on your case studies and having an ROI calculator and that type of thing, especially when we're looking at time saving. Do you have any of that type of stuff really available?
Yeah, so again, on the Draycir website, we do have some calculation, especially for Credit Hound, is probably the key one for that. So yeah, if you head over to the Draycir website, we've got an ROI calculator on that.